Hi everyone, Tom Matthews here, and bringing you a video today that a question was posed to me recently by a good friend of mine, asking me, how will the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates impact the value people can sell their homes for? So we're going to talk a little bit about economics and really focus in for fall 2019. This is a fluid situation, kind of a moving target, but basically what we're seeing right now is that the interest rate cut is affecting home values differently depending upon what price point you're in. And the reason being is that, you tend to find that folks who are spending, $2 million or more are really kind of clued in on economy, reading about economics, the Wall Street Journal. They're watching the market diligently, and seeing an interest rate cut from the Federal Reserve isn't necessarily the best sign. We've been told from the mass media that we have really strong labor force, lowest unemployment in years, the stock market's roaring, everything's doing super well. Typically, when you're in that type of economy, you're not going to see interest rates get cut, yet we're seeing rates get cut. So that means that there are underlying pressures, most likely on a global stage and also with the amount of debt that people have. So that is signaling that the economy may not be as strong. And so what we're seeing is that those rates being cut aren't necessarily fueling the higher end of the market as much as we would like. Where you're seeing the biggest impact with interest rates being cut is under $1 million. Kind of in a marketplace where people really need that relief that interest rate cut is offering them. Because not only are you getting relief on the mortgage monies, your credit card bills are now lower, your student loan payments are lower, your car payments are lower. So every piece of your life is lower. And more often than not, people that are buying and selling homes under $1 million, they have a set fixed budget, and they're moving because of a need. They've added children to the family, something has changed that is forcing this move, which is precipitating action in the marketplace. So you're seeing, values being pushed up. So I don't think I don't think any realtor right now, any economist can say that the Federal Reserve interest rate cut is going to drive values up. I think the answer is it's going to depend on the price point. I think one thing that I can tell you that I think is truthful and very accurate for the real estate scene that we've seen in 2019, and that is that one impact from these rates going down is that money is much cheaper to borrow, and we are finding that buyers are less willing to do any work to a home. So if you're preparing your house for sale in fall of 2019 or looking into spring of 2020, you got to take a real hard look at your property, specifically kitchen and baths, and think about what you can do to improve the property, to put it in what we call parade-ready shape. Now, in the past, a lot of sellers have said to us, well, I don't want to do any work to my house, Tom, because if I pick something out and the buyers don't like it, I will have wasted my money. And in the past, I used to say, yeah, you're absolutely right. Don't do anything. Let the buyer pick. But what we're finding is that the buyers are so busy that they may not love what you've selected, but if it's better than what you had, they will move forward and buy your property. And that's an important consideration, because how the values of the home are moving based on the interest rates is more than just the numbers. It's condition. There are a lot of pieces in play. When I was having a call yesterday with my business coach, and we were discussing, what's going on in the market right now. And it's been a great year. Joanne and I have sold 39 homes so far this year, charging towards 50. People are getting great deals. People are able to transact. But you have seen the temperature, the velocity slow. And one of the things that's driving that is cycles. We are on economic cycles. If you go back to the beginning of time, there's always cycles, up and down, up and down. If you go back to the 1970s in the United States, and track financial cycles, they typically run in 5 to 7 years. 5 years down, 5 years up. 5 years down, 7 years up. And what we're seeing now is there's this shift. And the shift has to do with the way our economy is based. Back in the 70s, the U.S. economy was very manufacturing based. So car sales would sell, car sales would slow down, manufacturers would lay off people, and that would be the cycle. Now we're seeing, myself included, I am a realtor. I sell a product. Ultimately, I am helping someone who finds a home that they love and helping them transact the deal. So I'm a service person. What we are finding now in the 21st century is because the U.S. economy is so service-based, you are seeing longer cycles. So you're seeing the duration of this economic run-up that we've been in longer than what history would tell you it should be. And it's not that there's anything wrong, it's just that the cycle takes longer. I was telling this to a homeowner last night. When with this new service-based model, you don't see the ups and downs, the crashes that you can see with a manufacturing-based economy. So if you think of the metaphor of an aircraft carrier is going in the ocean, and it takes them 19 miles to turn around. They can't just turn on a dime. And I think that's kind of what we're experiencing right now. The economy has been going really good for a long time, and we are starting to see that aircraft carrier start to turn. But it's not going to drop on a dime. It's turning ever so slowly as it starts to level out. We don't see anything in place to say that the property value is going to drop dramatically, but I do think you're going to start to see them level out. So, truthfully, as you look at these interest rates coming down and you ask, how is this going to impact my ability to get more money? That's going to be tied to condition. But once you take the condition off of the equation, I think it's important to really strategically position your home. And that means that you're not necessarily looking at homes that sold a year ago, because you may be getting data that's not accurate to today. So as you're a home seller trying to position your house for sale, maybe you should be looking at properties that are contingent and under contract to see what kind of behavior and metrics you might be able to pull out that can help you price your house ahead. So if that aircraft carrier is turning, you don't want to be pricing back here where it was still going straight. You want to be pricing it forward as it turns into it. And that's how you'll have a really good real estate experience. It takes, talking to people like myself. Joanne and I are in this business full time. We're transacting 3 to 4 homes a month, knowing what's going on, versus just meeting with a friend who's a realtor who sells, one house every couple of months. You don't have enough of a pulse of what's going on in the environment. And the biggest threat right now for a home seller is that you misprice your house. And you price it back when the aircraft carrier is still going straight, and you're not pricing ahead. And the challenge you run into is that there are still market segments, like I said, under that $1 million market segment, where you put a house on the market. I put a house on the market in Framingham yesterday for $375, and I've had 12 private showings in less than 24 hours. So I'm telling you, the statistical data is out there that there are markets that are still humming along. And if you have a buyer that's a move-up buyer, moving from a $500,000 house that wants to move into a $1.2 or $1.5 million property, if you misprice your house and your house doesn't sell and you start accumulating market time, we have been in a marketplace for so long where properties sell right away that if you don't sell right away, people are going to think there's something wrong with your house. And that can be catastrophic as we move forward into fall 2019, into winter 2019, and then springboarding into spring 2020. So I think it's going to be how the interest rates impact your house. The answer, unfortunately, is going to be it depends. It's going to depend on your price point. It's going to depend on the condition of your property. I think, if you're out there and you're saying, man, I think now is the time to sell my house, bring in a qualified professional, sit down and spend the time going through house prep and coming up with a pricing strategy and a marketing plan to ensure that you have the success. We're still in a robust, super strong area, but you just have to be positioned right. Thank you very much, everyone. This is Tom Matthews of the Tom and Joanne team, and you can find us at tomandjoanneteam.com. Cheers.